Man, people can't stop talking about the Chiefs as villains this week. They're playing the Philadelphia Eagles. If there's a villain city in America, it's Philadelphia. They throw snowballs at Santa Claus, for crying out loud. My goodness. Speaking of snowballs, we don't have any snow this morning, but it is icy all over Kansas City. There are accidents all across the metro this morning. There are road closures and highway closures all across the metro this morning. So definitely take your time. Be safe if you have to go out. Schools are closing left and right or doing delayed openings. So make sure you check on that if you get the kids out the door and you haven't gotten that text or that call. Well, good for you, but definitely want to be careful out there this morning. So there's a lot going on right now.
I got a text and a call from Olathe and Shawnee Mission. I guess my number's still over there in the other district.
Oh, is it really? You're getting, you're our reporter then, Mark. You know, you can report on every freaking school district in the area, I guess.
Usually if Olathe closes, Shawnee Mission does, so does.
Yeah, they usually work in conjunction, I'll say.
Well, and even if you're not closed, you ain't getting there.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Right now, no time.
No, you're not.
So better just pace ourselves today.
Please give yourself time. And if you, as a result, are going to work from home, just pull us up on your Google Home, on your Alexa, or on the KCMO Talk Radio app. So I heard this yesterday from Jason McIntyre. Mark's shaking his head. You don't like Jason McIntyre?
He's kind of a goober to me.
Oh, yeah, he's a total goober. He is the sidekick for Colin Cowherd, who I have a lot of respect for. Colin's really good at what he does. But Colin got sick this week. Did you see that viral clip of Colin Cowherd, middle of a segment, getting sick?
Keatsman was talking about that. I didn't see it.
He's like in the middle of a segment, Colin Cowherd, Fox Sports, and he's like, I got to take a break. I'm getting really sick, guys. And they go to break, and he like skirts off and never comes back. So his little buddy there, Jason McIntyre, ends up co-hosting, or I guess hosting the show Monday and then yesterday. And I see this clip of him talking about the Chiefs as villains. And here's what he had to say.
But I follow Mahomes. He's a likable dude. He's got a wife. He's got kids. He seems like a normal guy, right? They're actually likable. So why are they villains? And again, I'm not calling them villains. I just don't really like their dominance. I'm ready for new teams. But if you watch how they play, they're a fun, good football team, right? They've got less fun since they lost Tyreek Hill, and they're a little less explosive. Teams started going to the two high safeties to take away the big plays, and then it's death by 7-yard Patrick Mahomes scrambles or Isaac Pacheco carries. The reason I'm out on them, and again, this is maybe just me, is this whole referee thing. They get... And again, I'm not saying it's rigged. They do get a lot of calls.
I'm not saying it's rigged, but... Okay, little buddy. All right. That's Jason McIntyre of Fox Sports yesterday. So he's admitting what most people would admit about this Chiefs team. They're likable and they're fun. Individually, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, very likable. I mean, Andy Reid, if he wasn't Andy Reid, would be the neighbor that you'd have where you'd say to him, hey, buddy, I'm going to be out of town. Can you pull my trash bins in tonight? He'd be like, yeah, sure, no problem, man. What else do you need from me? I mean, that's just who Andy Reid is. And as he notes there about Mahomes, I mean, married to his high school sweetheart, 3 kids now, pretty relatable for a superstar. I mean, far more relatable than what you think of, I think, many superstars in his shoes being like.
Even Chris Jones over there hanging out at the Urban Air Bounce House with my wife and daughters about a couple months ago.
Was that right?
Yeah, they were just the only ones in there hanging out, and nice guy, friendly guy.
Did you tell us that story?
No, I didn't. I didn't want to bring it up.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
That's the whole point of you being here, Mark, to tell stories like that.
I didn't want to blow it up on social media and stuff. I just want him to have a good time.
Yeah, well, I mean, after the fact, it doesn't matter, Mark. It doesn't matter. That's the whole point. You got to be telling stories like that.
That's true.
Come on, man. What are you doing?
I saw Ray Liotta once.
And you didn't know it was Ray Liotta, John. That's the kicker of the story. But, yeah, I mean, these guys are largely likable and relatable. And for Jason McIntyre to be like, it's the ref thing, here's what I really think it is. And this is something he alluded to earlier in those comments. I don't know if as Americans we appreciate or like greatness anymore. We're all about hating. I think a lot of that's driven through social media, right? Instead of looking at like the 90s Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan, where I think a lot of people said, hey, boy, I mean, we have never seen anything like this. We are watching the greatest player to ever do it in a team environment, and win 3 straight twice in the span of, 8 years? You were watching greatness, and Michael Jordan was largely beloved. The New York Yankees had that run in the late 90s in Major League Baseball, but the Yankees are New York, so they're always going to be hated to a degree, right? That happens with a team like that. The Patriots, they were cheaters. I mean, legitimately, they were cheaters. Spygate, Deflategate, Belichick's always sitting there looking like a grump with his hoodie on. Brady wasn't all that relatable. I mean, it was a nice story early on, 6th-round draft pick, but once you marry the supermodel, you're not all that relatable. Patrick Mahomes is far more relatable. I mean, yes, his wife is beautiful, but she's his high school sweetheart, right? I mean, she's famous in large part because of him. Just a fact. That's far more relatable and likable than anything the Patriots ever had going. So what I wonder is if we're in this culture driven by social media where we don't want to see greatness anymore. We don't like greatness anymore. And just like in large part, if someone has tremendous success, liberals will say, well, you owe us some of your money. Or you didn't get there on your own. You just got lucky. Or what about all the people who helped you get there? There's an element now, I think, in sports where that has seeped in. We can't just watch greatness and say, wow, that's awesome. Man, that's great. I can really appreciate what I'm watching. Instead, it's all about, well, you didn't do it on your own. The refs are helping you, John.
Well, we're victimized by the greatness. Pete.
Well, yes, I think there's some of that as well. There's a victimization mentality for people in America today, and that permeates its way into the football space, right? Where people will say, well, if you're doing great, I'm getting screwed. No, you just need to be better. You need your front office. You need your head coach. You need your players to step up their game. It's not the Chiefs' fault that you've got a general manager who hasn't been able to draft a quarterback in 25 years, right? That's not the Chiefs' fault. The Chiefs' success is not the reason that your team is not getting to where you want it to go. And just like in politics, it seems like that has made its way into the sports world. And I think the echo chambers of social media have led us to that point in a place that we haven't really been before, where everyone will say individually, these guys are likable. The team is largely fun to watch. And yes, the big plays aren't what they were a few years ago, but they're largely fun to watch. So why do you hate them? And they make up this narrative in their own heads about the refs because what they're really doing is they're ticked off at their own situation. Just like people who say, the billionaires got to pay their fair share. Tell me how your life becomes better if a billionaire has a higher tax rate. Tell me how, if you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, your team gets better if the Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl. You will get a little short-term boost. You might feel slightly better about yourself for a hot minute. In the end, you're still a Jaguars fan, right? So there's a commonality to me in how sports fans are looking at this Chiefs team ahead of Sunday and how many Americans are looking at the country. I think that has fallen by the wayside a little bit, but it's definitely out there. And it's something that's, I don't think it's a coincidence that we find ourselves in this weird place right now where people just seemingly hate the Chiefs and they make up reasons for why they hate the Chiefs.